Here are 15 real people who tragically and very bizarrely died in the silliest ways imaginable. 1. The chemistry student who blew up his own face, Vladimir Lakhanos. It was just an ordinary December evening in 2009 in Konotop, Ukraine. 25-year-old Vladimir, a chemistry student and self-proclaimed science lover, had a quirky habit. He dipped his chewing gum into citric acid to prolong its flavor. But on that night, he had two very similar containers on his desk. One held citric acid, the other an explosive powder. One absent-minded dip, and the entire room exploded. The blast was so strong that his lower face and jaw were destroyed on impact. Emergency services arrived, but his injuries were too severe. Turns out the powder was 4 times more powerful than TNT. This wasn't just a small mistake, it was fatal curiosity at its most tragic. 2. The mayor killed by his beard, Hans Steininger. Back in 1567 in Austria, Hans Steininger was known for 2 things: being a beloved 6-time mayor and owning the longest beard in the town, over 4.5 feet of flowing facial pride. Normally, he kept it rolled and tucked away, but during a fire outbreak, he rushed down the stairs to help, forgetting to secure it. He stepped on his own beard, tripped, and snapped his neck. The beard survived and is still on display today in a local museum. Imagine being remembered more for your beard than your years in office. That's Hans's legacy. 3. Run over by his own dog, James Campbell. Florida is no stranger to odd headlines, but this one still stands out. James Campbell, a Vietnam veteran, was simply opening his gate while his wife sat in their van, ready to reverse it into the driveway. Their excited dog jumped into the driver's seat and, in a 1-in-a-million move, stepped on the gas. The van backed up and fatally crushed James. Despite suspicions, authorities confirmed it was truly an accident, a loyal pet with no understanding of what it had just done. 4. The skydiver who forgot his parachute, Ivan McGuire. With over 800 jumps to his name, Ivan McGuire was no rookie. He was filming a student skydiving lesson in North Carolina in 1988 when he made a fatal oversight. So focused on the camera gear, he forgot to wear a parachute. The camera caught his horrifying realization mid-air. No last-minute miracle, no backup shoot. Just a tragic lapse in routine, a chilling reminder that even professionals can forget the most basic precautions. 5. The rugby player who swallowed a slug, Sam Ballard. In 2010, Sam Ballard was a healthy, athletic 19-year-old in Australia, enjoying wine and laughs with his friends. One of them dared him to eat a garden slug. He did, but that harmless-seeming slug was carrying rat lungworm, a parasite that attacks the brain and nervous system. Sam slipped into a coma for over 400 days and eventually became a quadriplegic. After 8 years of struggle, he passed away at 28. One silly dare became a life-altering decision that cost him everything. 6. The man who beheaded himself in a contest, Krzysztof Asninski. In Poland, 1995, a group of men decided to turn a drinking night into a bizarre test of manhood. First came frozen turnip hits to the head. Then one man took it up a notch and chopped off his own foot with a chainsaw. Not to be outdone, Krzysztof picked up the chainsaw and, no joke, beheaded himself. It was instant. The event later appeared in a British medical journal article analyzing foolish male deaths. No surprise there. 7. Killed by a dead snake, Pong Fan. Over in Guangdong, China, Chef Pong Fan was preparing a dish featuring the Indo-Chinese spitting cobra, a snake known for its lethal venom. He had already decapitated it and was working on the body when, about 20 minutes later, the severed head bit him. Despite being detached, the snake's reflexes were still active. It injected enough venom to kill Pong before help could arrive. Lesson: never underestimate a cobra, even when it's technically dead. The speed of the venom's effects left no time for treatment. His respiratory system began to shut down almost immediately. Diners in the restaurant were completely unaware of the chaos in the kitchen until it was too late. Experts later explained that snakes can retain nerve activity long after death, especially in the head, making them still dangerous. Pong's tragic end became a shocking reminder that working with venomous animals, even in a culinary setting, comes with life-threatening risks. 8. The social media daredevil, Acton Bale. Planking was the internet craze of 2011, and 20-year-old Acton Bale from Brisbane, Australia, wanted to get the ultimate photo. He attempted a plank on the narrow railing of his 7th-floor balcony, just 2 inches wide. One misbalance and he fell to his death. Alcohol was a factor, and police had warned about the dangers just days earlier. Unfortunately, some challenges aren't worth the likes. 9. The festival firecracker dare, Shabarish. Diwali in Bengaluru, India, is a time for joy, lights, and fireworks. But in 2024, a group of friends dared 32-year-old Shabarish to sit on a box of lit fireworks, promising him a new auto rickshaw in return. Caught up in the moment, he agreed. The explosion left him with massive burns, and he died days later in hospital. The incident was caught on CCTV, and 6 friends were arrested. A festive prank turned into a deadly tragedy. Hit by a self-driving car, Elaine Hertzberg. On a quiet night in Arizona in 2018, 49-year-old Elaine Hertzberg was crossing the street with her bike. An autonomous Uber vehicle hit her at 39 miles per hour. The human safety driver in the car was streaming a TV show instead of watching the road. The car's AI failed to recognize Elaine and didn't even attempt to stop. The driver later pled guilty to endangerment, and Uber's testing in Arizona was suspended. A horrifying case of over-trusting technology. 11th, choked by a fish trick, Jeff Twaddle. During an educational boat trip in California, deckhand Jeff Twaddle tried to lighten the mood for some elementary school kids. He grabbed a bait fish and jokingly popped it into his mouth, but the fish got lodged in his throat. The children looked on as fun turned to panic. Despite CPR efforts, Jeff was pronounced dead hours later. What began as a simple joke ended with a devastating accident on a day meant for learning. 12th, electrocuted taking a selfie, Xenia Ignatova. In 2014, Xenia, a 17-year-old from St. Petersburg, Russia, was out to capture a dramatic selfie on a 30-foot railway bridge. With her friend watching from below, she climbed up, camera in hand. As she posed, she grabbed a live electrical cable and was instantly electrocuted. She fell to the concrete below and died on impact. Her passion for photography turned fatal in an instant, highlighting the dangers of social media-fueled thrill-seeking. She had been part of a growing trend among teens called roof-topping, where high-risk photos from dizzying heights were posted online for viral attention. Xenia had hoped to capture a moody urban shot with the city lights behind her, but paid the ultimate price for one wrong move. The tragedy stunned her school and ignited debate across Russia about the influence of online culture on young people. Her story became a national warning, reminding everyone that some photos are simply not worth the risk. 13. Trapped in a closet, Elizabeth Isherwood. Elizabeth, a 60-year-old former policewoman, was vacationing in Wales in 2017. One night she got up and mistakenly entered the airing cupboard instead of the bathroom. The door handle broke, trapping her inside. Naked, with water spraying from a broken pipe, she fought to escape for nearly 2 days. Tragically, hypothermia claimed her life before anyone realized what had happened. Her cries went unheard, and she died just inches from freedom. She had managed to break through part of the wall and came heartbreakingly close to escape, only to be blocked by a picture frame screwed to the other side. Neighbors heard the banging but assumed it was maintenance work, delaying any chance of help. It wasn't until a water leak was investigated days later that her body was discovered. Her son later described her death as the result of a perfect storm of small failures, a tragic chain of events no one could have imagined. 14. Sucked into an MRI machine, Rajesh Maru. Rajesh Maru was simply trying to help a relative at a Mumbai hospital in 2018. A hospital worker told him to bring a metal oxygen tank into an MRI room, a big no-no around powerful magnets. As soon as he entered, the machine's magnetic pull yanked the tank and Rajesh violently forward. His hand got trapped, the tank's valve broke, and he inhaled a fatal dose of oxygen. 3 hospital staff were arrested afterward. This death was not only bizarre, it was 100% preventable. Despite multiple warning signs and strict safety protocols posted around the MRI room, negligence and poor judgment led to one of the most avoidable medical accidents in recent memory. Rajesh's family was left devastated, especially knowing he died while doing something as noble as helping a loved one. His severed finger, trapped in the machine, wasn't retrieved for nearly 18 months, adding insult to the tragedy. The case sparked outrage across India and renewed calls for accountability in hospital safety practices. 15. The drummer who drank himself to death, John Bonham. Led Zeppelin's legendary drummer John Bonham drank 40 shots of vodka in just 12 hours in 1980. During rehearsals for an upcoming tour, he passed out on a sofa. Later, he was moved to bed and left to sleep it off. By morning, he was gone, dead from choking on his own vomit. The band was so devastated they disbanded entirely after his death. A life of musical brilliance undone by one night of excess. His death sent shockwaves through the rock music world, cutting short what many believed was the peak of his drumming career. Bonham's powerful, relentless rhythm had defined the sound of an era, and without him, the band couldn't imagine going on. The official coroner's report called it death by misadventure, a grim label for such an immense loss. His passing became one of the most sobering examples of how fame and substance abuse can create a deadly mix. Each of these deaths is strange, tragic, and completely real. Some are cautionary tales, others the result of flukes, dares, or overlooked details. But they all serve as a reminder that life can be unpredictable, sometimes in the most bizarre ways imaginable. From beards and slugs to fireworks and selfies, these stories prove that silly doesn't mean harmless. Stay smart, stay safe, and always think twice, even about the things that seem fun or trivial. If this video blew your mind, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories and cautionary tales from real life.